And for those that may not know what conforming is, it is to comply with rules, standards, or laws. To change is to become or to be made different. In the book of Romans, Romans 12:2, it talks about conforming. Let's read it. So we're going to read in Romans.
Romans what?
12:2.
It's coming. 12:2.
Mm-hmm. And that verse reads, "Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." You see, what these verses are saying to us is God is always in our lives, but he has a plan for our lives and a purpose. And we cannot complete his purpose if we are conforming to the things of this world. God is always reminding us through his word that we are to walk righteously. We are to deny ourselves and carry our crosses. In Matthew 6:24 and 25, he states, "We cannot serve two masters." Some of you may ask why. Well, the things of God are holy and sanctified. And in order for you to complete his purpose in your life, you must stay focused on the light, which is Jesus. The things of this world is what many of us are and were already serving. And although it seemed okay at the moment, the consequences were far, far greater than anything we can go through with God. There was a moment in my life when I had to figure out what God I was going to serve. I started attending in church in 2009, and I thought that I had submitted myself. I thought that I was serving one God. And then I was put to a test. And in that test, I conformed. And I started backsliding. It started with just a simple argument and my hurt feelings. And that led me to, okay, it's okay to smoke a cigarette. And the cigarette led to other things. And by the time I came to see, I was dead into a complete world. And what God showed me there was that you truly can't serve two masters. You cannot serve the world and serve him. He stripped me of everything, literally. I lost first my husband, then my house, then my children, and I nearly lost my life. I was put in a mental hospital for well over a month. I was there alone because my kids were spread out all over the place. And it was actually the first time in my life that I hadn't been with my children. So it was like a very powerful impact. And from that moment on, I really didn't know how to go back. I didn't know how to find my way back. But he knew I was going to come back. So he took his time progressively to bring me back. And when I got back, I made a promise that I would never look back to my past, that I would not conform to anything of the world, because I remember what conforming did for me, what I lost, what he had given me and what he had taken away because of my consequences. It wasn't God that did it, it was my consequences. It was my not wanting to be faithful with God, not wanting to submit myself completely to him. And I know there's many people that be like, well, Jesus is love, and love abounds all. But God established a way of being, and he wanted us to be righteous, and he wants us to maintain ourselves clean. And if we conform to the world, everything that he cleaned, we're dirtying again. We continue to dirty our temple. We continue to put things in our minds because society says it's okay, or because people say it's okay, or because your friends are around you and they want you a certain way. Let them do what they need to do, and you continue to walk with God, and you continue to be faithful, and don't conform to them. You don't need to follow them. There's no reason to follow them, because you already know that following them is going to take you down the wrong path. When we walk with God, we will go through a numerous amount of pressure due to what the world wants. But we must pray and stand firm and allow them to see the Christ in us. We must remain righteous and faithful to Him as He has remained to us. Satan sets up traps and confuses people to make us believe that serving God is hard and not worth it. But serving God is hard, yes. But we make it harder because we want to make it both happy God and the world. We want to make two things happy, and we can't. It just doesn't work. We hurt ourselves, and we make our path harder. And then we complain when we are a mess. I say we because I have been guilty of this. We try to please people and keep them close, but we don't see that God removed them because they were stumbling blocks. Our walk gets harder because we choose to draw our map instead of following God's GPS. He has our paths already set, and we need to follow it and stop conforming. How many know that God has many names, but what God do we serve? Many of us are quick to say, the God of creation, but they are submitting to things of this world. In the Word, we see that God says we are to love, but He also says we are to reprimand. We tend to forget this. When Jesus walked on this earth, He told the disciples in a very loving way the things that they were doing wrong. He may not have done it in a rough way, the way some do it. He may not have done it judgmentally, but He reprimanded them. Reprimand is a way of showing love. If you love your child, you will reprimand them. If you love your husband and see him going the wrong way, you're going to try to tell him, no, don't do it. If you love a good friend and you see that good friend going into a drug spot or actually doing the drug itself, you're going to try to stop them. Why? Because you love them. So if they preach love, then why not reprimand the ones you love?